evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Cool Channels, and it's time for another edition of the Coach Ingram Show. I'm Roger Cunningham, and alongside me tonight is the head football coach of the Seminole County Indians, Mr. Alan Ingram. Coach, thanks for being here.
As always, Roger, it
beats the alternative.
It beats the alternative.
Yes, like I said on Facebook, it's another Monday, but at least I'm alive and God loves me.
That's right.
Absolutely. And the Redskins won, so. All my family from up in Chicagoland. I've got a lot of relatives living in the Chicago area. Sister and sister and her husband and all their children and everything, and live up in the Chicago area. And we were all over back and forth today on Facebook about the Bears-Redskins game and everything. There was a very controversial call, as they say, but of course they're all. I said, now if the Redskins had done something like that and they got called for it, would you be unhappy? Like you are about your Bears being called for it, I didn't hear anything back after that. But anyway, we're talking about Indian football, Coach. Another big win Friday night. Could have been a lot worse than it was. We made a lot of mistakes at different parts of the game, both in execution and fumbling and things like that. But we come out with a big 31-6 win over Calhoun County, 7-0. More importantly, 3-0 in region play.
Yeah, still a win.
An ugly win's still a good win.
You remember the ugly part of the thing, but I'm telling you.
But there were a lot of good things. We're going to touch on that.
Calhoun, that wasn't Stewart. Calhoun County's got a pretty good football team. They were 1-5 coming into the thing, but they've thrown for 200 yards a couple of times, and they or rushed for 150 and things like that. But they've been moving the ball on everybody and doing a good job. And they had some skilled guys. They had some
pretty good players.
Skilled athletes that are pretty good. The quarterback is
number one and number four.
Real lively arm. 8 and 5. Excellent receivers. Bring a lot to the table there, and it was a challenge for our DBs. We gave him up. We gave up the short stuff up underneath, and they had a few yards there. Completed. 7 of 20?
7 of 19.
7 of 19 passes, but netted how many yards was it?
They netted a total of 76 yards
passing.
So you'll give that up any day of the week.
One or two little long passes there. One DB kind of got, we're playing man, so he got turned around, got lost there. The guy came back, did an excellent job coming back catching the ball. Robert Spates gave up a little pass across the middle there. He let the guy get inside of him, but made the tackle meet, and it was a big first down for them.
Right.
But the thing when they scored, it was of our making. What I was getting to, the first half, we touched the ball 4 times. They had speed. We didn't break away the big runs, but we moved the ball constantly.
Right.
We had 4 possessions. We scored the first 3 times, touchdowns, and then kicked the field goal, right there the last second.
And everyone was just loving that. Loving that. And because I had asked you, I said, when are we ever going to see Matt kick a field goal?
Yeah.
And your answer was, well, might not like to see him kick one, but hopefully never. We're scoring touchdowns.
Yeah. But, the clock's running out, and we lost a few seconds there, but and we've got to do a little bit better job than that. But we did get got the timeout, or got to kill the clock. And, of course, he ran the clock out, but, they should have been 1 or 2 seconds left. He gave us 1 second, and that was a good call by the official.
Yeah, it was.
He was making, blowing the whistle before. And, 4 possessions first half, and we get 24 points. So, it's about as good as that gets.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we made some good runs, some runs against some teams that we were broken for long, big, long touchdowns. A lot of speed.
They do.
A lot of speed on
Charles
that
and I were talking about that in the booth. One thing about this team, they don't have a very good record, but they are fast.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of speed guys.
And then we just came out in the third quarter and had homecoming festivities, whatever the reason was, come out. We stayed in the dressing room. And then we had a couple of snaps in there. Alex rolled his ankle a little bit.
Right,
little quarterback and little secret there was I got on him hard. Kind of forced a little bit of dissension or whatever, in there, because it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to, we had gotten a little personal foul on the center. Well, we didn't even get the foul on it. I took him out of the ball game. The official brought him over there and said that we had 2 or 3 little calls in there that could have gone either way. But anyway, it went Calhoun's way, and the center made a little remark, and the official heard him that they were cheating. The officials were cheating.
No,
we don't do that,
right.
pouting and belly aching. But anyway, instead of official having deaf ears like he should have, and I'm not excusing the player because he shouldn't have said anything at all, but
heard a lot worse.
He brought him over to the sideline. That's what that was. It wasn't foul language or anything like that, or wasn't anything that he was saying to Calhoun County boys or whatever. But he brought him over to the sideline and said, "Coach," he said that we were cheating, and I'll let you deal with that. And I said, "Well, just stay out of the ball game."
Well, they took one of their players over there. The referee did at one time during the game, but he came back in the next play.
Yeah, and
I don't know what that deal was about.
Yeah, but anyway, so we moved the center in there, and it gave Alex another little excuse.
Right.
I mean, he's a little young kid, and I've told you before, he's a perfectionist. Alex is a perfectionist, and he kicks himself, when he does something wrong, and so. I just came down hard on him a little bit, and then, got him a little bit more upset, and then I came down hard on him again, got him a little bit more upset, and it was kind of intentional to just let him
grow.
Let him grow a little bit, and let the rest of them grow a little bit too, and so then he gets ready-made excuses, and so then, I said, "Okay, Cowboy, go to quarterback. Now, Alex, watch this. Watch how easy this is." And Cowboy is not nearly as good a quarterback as Alex is because Alex had, first year we decided to go with Alex.
So more repetitions.
We could do so many other things with Cowboy and rah-rah in there and get more kids on the field. But anyway, he did some growing. He came out today.
Well,
his attitude was really good.
And you and I talked Friday night a little bit on camera and then off camera that. Sometimes a kid needs a little adversity.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely.
Because if everything's just easy, so to speak, and that type of thing, how do you deal when things don't go exactly the way you want them to go?
Sure.
And I think there was a little bit of that going on Friday.
Well, we all need adversity at time to time, because we need to learn how to react to it and how to grow from it, and how to take it in stride and things like that. And that's what I told my team after the ball game when we had the post-game talk, and I told him, I said, this is a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's much better for it to happen now than later on.
First round of the playoffs.
And I did tell him it's a good thing if we use it. Mm-hmm. If we're smart. Now, if we're stupid or if we're not paying much attention to it, then it's not going to help us at all. But if we're smart, then this is a good thing.
Well, if God allows adversity in our life, I think it ought to be allowed on the football. It's a good thing.
It is.
It can be a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. And the whole thing, football is it's a life lesson game. That's the way I approach it. And I think that's the way, God's a football fan.
Sure.
I've always told you that. And I think that's the way He meant for the game to be played. At least. That's the way I think.
There you go. There you go. So there's golden football fields in heaven.
Oh, I think so.
We go out there and we go out there and kick the ball and run around and stuff.
Absolutely. You bet. You bet. Got a lot of good friends up there, and one of these days I hope I'm going to be there. And we're going to have a Super Bowl of Super Bowls.
There you go. But now this day and age of being politically correct, we've got to have a golden baseball field and a golden soccer field. But anyway, that's. But and He knows we're having fun and playing, and He doesn't mind that.
That's right.
If God didn't want humor in the world, we wouldn't have it.
That's right.
Anyway, still, going through some things, Coach. We had 14 first downs. Good night. 12 of them by rushing. That's what you like to see.
Yeah, we want to control the clock.
Absolutely. You run that ball, control the clock. Obviously, they can't score unless we do something crazy and fumble and they run it in. 255 yards rushing. Passing, we had 2 attempts, completed both of them for 21 yards. Gives us a total of 276 net yards. You always like to hit around 300. Could have if you wanted to. Could have if you wanted to. We were also talking out there a little while ago, about Calhoun only had 94 total yards in the game. You could have run the score up to 60 if you wanted to, but that's just not your deal.
Yeah.
And you know, and while before you comment on that, you know, there's been a lot of fans say, "Hey, why don't you run up the score? Why don't you run up the score? You know, just kill him, just kill him, just kill him." Well, a couple of things, you know. Number one, what goes around comes around sometimes. You've been on the other end of that.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it, been on the other end of that in different kinds of sports. And also, you look at a deal like the previous round when we played Stewart. You know, obviously we could have scored more than 38.
Oh, yeah.
You know, against Stewart, and then you see a team like Mitchell, you know, put up 80. You know, Stewart. In my opinion, you may have a different one. I think that's just kind of uncalled for. You know, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, I know you don't like to critique another coach. I can. You're not going to do that on the air or whatever. But you know, personally feeling, I think that's a little bit ridiculous when a team only dresses out 18 players. You know, scrimmage.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
that kind of thing.
You know, that's.
Put your JV kids in.
Yeah, it's one of the things that he has to live with, you know, and the whole game's not about embarrassing kids or running up score or whatever. You got to take care of yourself,
right,
for sure, and you're trying to teach your kids something, but, you know, there's a lot to be said about teaching your kids how to be humble and
respectful
and you know, have some character and all that stuff, and that's what it's all about.
And some sportsmanship.
Anyway. And good sportsmanship. You can't, you know, we've scored a lot of points a lot of times, but you know, most of them are legitimate. And we,
right.
You know, there's a point when I think that the game is over. My thing, and I've told you before, is we get what we can in the first half, and I want my offense, you know, to touch the ball one time at least the third quarter, no matter what the score is, and we're going to go down. I'm not going to say we wouldn't ever try to score first possession of the third quarter, but we normally try to go down and get one score the first time we touch the ball, and from that point on, you know,
if the game warrants
if the game warrants, it's time to put in the JV
exactly.
players.
Some if you can, like when you played clinch, when you played early,
Yeah.
you know, different things like that. You couldn't do that. The score was too tough.
Yeah, and a lot of times you play some teams that you know, you put your JVs in and they don't put theirs in.
Right.
And sometimes you have one or two guys up there at JV that's good athletes, or if they throwing the ball, you know, you intercept one, run it back, or you get a you know, a turnover or whatever, and you know, the JV guys go down and score. When you put your JV in, most of the time you're gonna let them score one time.
Right. Yeah.
And then you go from there. But some of them just keep throwing it, keep killing the clock, and letting the game prolong.
Drag
Their
on.
guys.
Yeah, and it's like we were also talking about a couple years ago. Played Daleville, played them over here. Controversial ending, you know, we had the fight and then had to stop the game, and then we had to forfeit the next game against Mitchell, but not enough players, that type of thing. And then go over to Daleville. I believe that was wasn't last year, it was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Year before, or maybe it was last year.
No,
it was year before. Year
second
before.
year.
Yeah, year before. Second year of this schedule. That's right. And play him over there, and we put up 73 points, and you know, we were talking about that, and you said, well, hey, you know, talk with the coach at halftime. You know, let's run the clock, you know, and everything. The coach said, no, I want to keep running my offense, keep running my plays, and you're like, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get the ball first in the third quarter, and I'm gonna score on you, or try to anyway, and you know, see what happens. And you said that's exactly what happened. And then you intercepted a couple passes, ran them back for touchdowns in the third quarter and everything. And finally, look over to coach like, okay, you had enough, you know. And finally had to run a clock in the fourth quarter, you know.
Yeah, I think we scored 49 points, 48, 47 points the first half. And I told him I was through. Let's run the clock and get the game over with. We go back to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, I'm going to run my stuff. But
so in those cases, if you put up 80 on the team, 78, hey, they're asking for it then.
And I'm not, you know, I don't know what happened over there at Mitchell and Stewart. I haven't talked to Cornelius, but you know, he and I talk a lot about, you know, kids with character and trying to do the right thing, you know, trying to teach character, things like that. I mean, we've had that conversation before, and and he always, you know, comments us on our, you know, the character of our kids, and then I always tell him, you know, the very same thing, you know, give it back to him. But you know, we'll see. I'll probably see the tape.
Right.
And I'll reserve
further comment. You reserve further comment. I mean, just think. I mean, you know, you're going into the game 99.9999% sure you're going to win. You know, when you play Stewart County. When you're playing Stewart County. Okay. I mean, if you'd only scored 10 points, you'd still beat them. you know, and that type. So I mean, it's just I just don't know. You know, put up 80 on the team. You know, like you said, run the first quarter, get your points, put your JV in, and have a nice night.
That's right.
You know, but anyway, so overall, against Calhoun, back to those guys, good side. That you talked briefly. You know, we did score, you know, 4 times in the first half, but some of the good calls when the offense was clicking, you know, it did look pretty good.
Yeah, you know, the kids did good. They worked hard. We got to get the lineman today was just kind of get the soreness out, get the bugs out, go back over the mistakes we made Friday, you know, and
inside joke.
and you know that type of thing. And tomorrow, big thing is get the lineman back on the sled, back on the leg driving stuff, because we just didn't move the feet much in the second half. You know, lineman didn't. And we worked real hard today on our backs blocking, on the perimeter, getting, you know, the outside plays.
Right, cutting down some of those speed guys. You know, get out there, and seal them off. But all right, that's Calhoun County again. Big 31-6 win, 7-0, 3-0 region play. We'll take a break. We'll come back, talk some more football, talk about Randolph-Clay. Stay tuned, everybody. You're watching the Coach Ingram Show here on the Cool Channels. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're in the War Room here at the Field House on the campus of Seminole County High School Middle School. Coach Ingram, I'm Roger Cunningham. It's Coach Ingram Show. Glad you've tuned in. Friday night, another home game. We've only got one more road game of the Final 3. That's up in Colquitt in Miller. That's not even really like a road game hardly, you know, because we'll pack that place out. They'll pack that place out. It'd be like 2 hometown teams playing, which pretty much it is, you know, when you have that game. But we'll talk more about that game next week. But Red Devils from Randolph-Clay come in. Again, a program that you know, that they're a level above, you know, your Stewarts, maybe Calhoun, you know, not a big school and everything, and a lot of times can't match up real well. They've had some good teams in the past. They've got a decent team this year. What can you tell us about Randolph-Clay?
Fastest running back we'll see, and at least until we get to Mitchell, two good running backs. Quarterback's not much of a threat as far as running the ball. Wing T team running buck sweep, inside traps, the lead over there on the nub side. A lot of speed getting outside. Throws the ball decently. Not one of the best passing teams around, but he doesn't try. He's like us. He's not trying to run a thing, but a good wing T team, you know. And when he goes formation, he gives you a certain idea of the play that he's going to run. But athletes that were their big offensive linemen, maybe the best offensive line we've played, especially, well, at least in the last 3 or 4 weeks. But a good football team. Defensively big, strong, quick. Got one big old Amazon. I guarantee he's a big kid. He just look at him.
But do they have the speed?
Yeah. No, Randolph-Clay's always athletic. You know, the thing about them, and they can get fired up and they'll play. It's a bunch of.
Well, everybody's gunning for us now. They're going to try to put their best game on it.
We're going to have to play a whole lot better than we played last Friday night.
Right.
We need to play, if we play as well as we played at Pelham, or as well as we played at Terrell after that first possession that they had, then we should be, you know, in pretty good shape. It's not a gimme, you know, by any means, but and they progressively get tougher. I think Randolph's going to be a tough ball game. Miller will be a bit tougher than Randolph, and then Mitchell will be the, you know, grand finale of the regular season. But and it would be the best team that would play. But so we're really going to have to be ready to play, you know, be mentally prepared to play, which we have not been in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, do you think, and let's talk about that for a second, because I was going to bring that up. Do you think it's a bit of a couple things? Number one, playing down to the competition a little bit, and the kids hearing all this, you know, you're 4-0, 5-0, and you this and you're that, and you're number one in the power rankings and number one in the public schools, and you're this and you're that. Do you think, I mean, they're young kids. Do you think some of that gets in their mind and they say, oh, we are playing Stewart County, we don't really have to run that hard? But sometimes when things like that happen, when you don't hit that line is where you're supposed to be, is when you can get injured.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and we caution that all the time. It's most kids, most injuries occur in practice, and it's usually from wallering around is my term, but not going full speed and not hustling. You just taking it easy, and somebody else is running full speed and runs up behind you or whatever. But yeah, sure, kids are kids, and they're gonna play at the competition. I don't know how old you get when you don't, because the pros still do. And,
Sure.
You'll see 5-0, 6, 7, 8-0 team playing a team that's won one ball game, or whatever, turn around and beat the undefeated team, or whatever, in the pros or colleges or whatever. So I don't know at what point in time you're always ready to play. Of course, you go to Georgia game this past week. Georgia beat up like the devil, but then Vandy hadn't won a ball game.
Right.
So
well, my 1-4 Redskins beat the Bears.
there you go.
So but now the Bears didn't play down to their competition.
That's right.
But anyway.
Yeah, and so that happens. It obviously happens. Absolutely.
Well, you can have a 1-4, a 1-5 team that has struggled different points in the game, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna use the Redskins as an example. They've had a real problem, with RG3 and maybe coming back too soon, but he had the knee issue and just not 100%. Well, he looked yesterday like he was getting pretty close to 100% and playing his game. And so you can have a team like that, and a couple of key things happen, and they'll start clicking, and you hit them at the wrong time.
Yeah.
When they start clicking.
And then sometimes you just don't match up well with
Right.
them. It happens more in
Right.
basketball or,
Right.
or smaller teams. When you 5-on-5 on the court, you don't match up well with what they have, and it happens in football. You may not match up well with what the other team's doing offensively or what they're doing defensively. When you start putting your skilled guys against their skilled guys, and so you have to find a way to get your non-skilled guys or wherever. You got to find your strengths,
Right.
and put it against everybody, because everybody's not strong in every area. Hopefully,
Right. Well, just kind of getting back to your comment, about maybe playing down or whatever. I was a little fun little ping pong match with this little kid the other day, and I obviously, I could have just beat the devil out of him if I'd have wanted to, but he'd hit the ball, and I just kind of gently, lob it back and lob it back and lob it back. So yeah, I was playing down, but that's the thing. I could have embarrassed the kid.
oh yeah,
We could have embarrassed some of these teams that we've played. But when you're in an actual competition, when there's something really on the line, other than the ping pong game I was in, when there's something on the line, you can't do that.
that's right.
You've got to play to your level, show them what you got, and then you get the points you need, get the other kids in there.
That's right.
All right. Folks just really loved what we did some last week, just kind of talking football. And so let's talk a little bit of football. You say the Red Devils. Oh, and by the way, before we get into that, wearing the pink shirt today for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Yeah, but I saw you with some pink socks. The ladies came around today with these jihoogenious pink socks that y'all going to wear for something. What, a picture that's going in the paper or something for the breast cancer?
No, we're going to pink. We're pinking out Friday night for.
Oh, are you pinking out for? Okay, because the cheerleaders have had pink pom poms all month long. Some of the players have been wearing pink, gloves and shoes and things like that and whatnot. And so it's a good thing. Whether you've had a spouse or whatever that's had, you've known someone that you're close to that's had that dreaded disease, and it's
absolutely
awful. It's awful.
And our kids, the whole month of October, is the Cancer Awareness Month, and we've had kids that wanted to wear the pink, and we kind of refrained from it, kept them back, and we told them we'd do it this Friday night. So we're going to have, we'll be wearing pink socks, pink sweatbands, or whatever, where they're allowed, and things like pink. May see some pink shoestrings or whatever.
Hey,
whatever.
Whatever we got to do to get folks,
Just
going
make
with this.
people aware.
Exactly, and that's why they call it Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But real quick, you know what they do in the NFL? Whenever you see any players, referees, coaches wearing anything kind of, anything pink or whatever, that's against NFL policy. Okay, totally against their uniform rules. And the way they're raising money is that what they're doing is they're allowing it, but they're still fining them. You know, a small fine, okay, and it goes into this charity pool, you know, for the breast cancer thing, and that's how they're raising. So the players are actually being fined, you know, for doing it, okay, because the league can, you know, before a game, you know, they'll inspect the player's uniform, just say, no, you can't wear that, go back to the locker room and change it, you know, before you go out on the field. But they're letting them wear the pink, and that's how they're raising money. So
maybe I could start doing that with our kids.
You're already making them pay for the drinks over there in the refrigerator.
Yeah, but they could hand me over their pennies. Or
yeah, they got their penny jars. That's not a bad. That's actually not a bad idea.
Wear the sweat.
You know, if you want to wear a sweatband, cost you a nickel, man.
You know, no, well, I tell you, we'd have every color in the book.
They just pay you the nickel.
We have to. We dress and warm up.
This is not what I was going to talk about. This is great.
But we dress and warm up over here.
Right.
You know, before ball games, and we have to literally go through these kids. They see all this stuff on TV. You know, the pro game, the college game.
Sure.
And we don't allow any sweatbands above the wrist.
Right.
Nothing above the wrist. We don't allow anything on the legs. Everybody wears the same socks, you know.
Right.
We're either in black or green or white socks. And these kids that come in and slip those sweatbands on them, we have to literally inspect each kid. You talk about the NFL, we have to do that.
Sure. I really didn't know that. That's right. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Well, they want to be cool, you know. So I'll
okay.
tell Danny or John Royce, okay, you see
You're the inspector coach tonight.
There's number 15 over there. I'm not gonna say a thing to him because I've already said, you get over there. I don't want to see it again. And so I'll look over there in a little while. It'll be gone. I don't know where it goes, but that's all I want.
I have a feeling
I just don't want to see it.
I have a feeling they walk over to them and say, "You do plan on playing tonight? You need to take that off."
I've stood one on the side. I told one back several years ago. You know, I take that thing off. Well, I turned around. We got over there to the stadium, and I just went out there on the opening kickoff. And I just happened to notice it. And I said, we swapped me out, and I said, just stand over here. He said, when am I going to get in? I said, you're not until. And I just let that hang. Well, it took him about 10 or 12 plays to figure it out. He finally come over and said, Coach, I took it off. I said, get in the game.
That's great.
But that's what you have to do. It's amazing.
Well, this was not the direction I was actually going in, but I'm glad we went there because I learned something about how we do things here over at 7
They're absolutely no different than anybody else. You have to watch everything they do.
That's amazing. But the difference is these kids aren't making $1 million a year. They're doing it.
That's
you know,
for sure.
They're doing it because number one, they like the game of football. They want to try to maybe play football at the next level. There's nothing wrong with that aspiration, you know, to try to do something like that. And you know, so let's treat them like football players.
There you go.
You know, that's what we do over here in Seminole County. Well, Coach, another great show. Enjoyed it. And I was going to ask you, you know, how you defend the wing tee. Maybe get on the chalkboard a little bit, but we don't have enough time for that now. So maybe we'll try that next week because Miller sometimes runs a little bit of wing and different things. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Hope to talk to you next Monday night after a big victory over Randolph-Clay. Games at home. Here in Dawsonville, 7:30 Friday night kickoff. Is that right?
7:30 kickoff.
There are no 8 o'clock kickoff times this year.
At Miller.
At Miller, yeah, Miller
Miller's
be 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything is 7:30.
But this week at home, 7:30 kickoff. Hope to see you there. Come on out. Let's root these boys on to another big victory. Wear the pink Friday night. It's pink out. Hope to see you there. Till next time, everybody. Good night.